All right.
Yeah, I will get us synced up. That'll be a 3, 2, 1, and then a clap.
All
on
right.
the beat. You've got your recording on your end, all good, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Swanky, high class, swanky time.
Swanky Kong.
Swanky Kong, the lesser known of the Kong family, hidden away out of shame by the rest of the family, for he does not live up to his moniker. Whereas Cranky Kong is cranky, and Diddy Kong was arrested. Swanky Kong is not swanky. He's tragically uncool.
Part of me wants to be nicer to Swanky Kong. But also, no, fuck him.
Yeah, like, he's a fraud. And people have said, right, you harvest mushrooms. Do something with that. Fungi Kong or something. It's like, no, it's too close to funky, isn't it? And I'm like, okay, yeah, you've got a point there. You've got a point there.
Like, everybody loves Funky Kong. And with good
look
reason.
At him. Yeah, look at him. He is an example, and you're not living up to it. Find something. I mean, you say you don't want a name that sounds like Funky Kong, because there was that time you insisted on constantly wearing a chimp mask, even though you're a gorilla, and you wouldn't take Monkey Kong. Oh, it's too close to Funky Kong, plus a chimpanzee is not a monkey, technically. Fuck off, Swanky.
Also, Manky Kong. You remember Manky Kong from the first Donkey Kong Country game?
I don't remember Manky Kong. I've never gotten very far into Donkey Kong Country.
Oh.
I get as far as the bonus level because it has really pretty music. And then I try for a bit more and I'm like, I've fallen down a hole. This is no good to me now. This game is no good to me. And that's how I play every game, especially the ones I review.
Trying to adjust my gains.
Adjust your gains.
Yeah, I gotta make fat gains and dirty stacks.
Well, yeah. Especially in the glamorous world of doing a podcast with ailing megastar Stephanie Sterling.
I mean, yeah. This is important. This is the Trashgirl Diaries Resurrections.
It's been resurrected.
Yeah.
Like something would be.
Like an alien?
Yes. I mean, this podcast isn't ever going to be as good as Alien Resurrection, but few things are. Alien Resurrection is amazing.
Is it?
Like, the Joss Whedon connection now is obviously a bit grim, but I think Alien Resurrection is an incredible film. First of all, it was conceived as a comedy. It was going to be a comedy, and executives at Fox stuck their dirty, soily fingers into it and frigged it until it was something else, as they're wont to do. Now, I'm not saying that a comedy alien film would be good. What I'm saying is it would be amazing. One way or the other. But because it was originally intended to be a comedy, and there are strands of it, there's artifacts left in, such as Weyland Yutani being bought out by Walmart. Little hints that it was going to be something else. And the result is a film that is all over the place tonally.
Awesome.
And I love it. And Brad Dourif is in it. And he's awesome in it as a scientist who was into the aliens a bit too much. A man does a salute. An army man does a salute as his men die, and he gets an alien tongue in the back of his fucking head. The scene where, like, all the army men are trying to get off the spaceship and the aliens are just, like, hacking them to shreds is awesome. One guy jumps in an escape pod, and just before a door closes, Xenomorph crawls in there with him, and it's just floating out in space, and it's got a little window, of course, so that you can see the guy screaming and all the blood splashing up on it. Bloody great. And then there's the newborn, the alien-human hybrid, that for all the shit that you could say about it, it's a fuck sight better than whatever that thing in Romulus was. That was comedy. That was a joke. Alien Resurrection is good. Winona Ryder is an android in it. As if you needed any more convincing.
Such a talent.
She's so beautiful and such a talent.
What the my phone. Ugh.
What's your phone doing now?
It was ringing.
Ringing?
It was ringing.
That's not professional of the phone. Does it not know? Does it not know that you're conducting businesses?
Yeah. Clearly the phone doesn't care. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It does.
What a joke. What an actual living joke.
It reminds me of, because I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 lately.
Oh.
I know, right?
Yeah, that game.
The Keanu Reeves vehicle.
The Keanu Reeves vehicle.
And, sometimes people will call me when I'm in the middle. People will call me in the video game when I'm in the middle of slaughter.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's not on.
They keep talking when they have to hear, the sounds of a swinging sword and screaming people and rent flesh and
right
gunfire and Keanu Reeves being a prick.
No one better be calling me when Keanu Reeves is on screen, because they'll be hearing something else as well. Mostly, like that. and the sounds of vigorous masturbation.
I was about to say, I wish I could drive a really nice car, with Keanu Reeves in the front seat.
That'd be lovely. It would just be nice. I make my little jokes. Isn't it, though? But
isn't it, though?
I don't find Keanu Reeves all that attractive. I don't think he's unattractive. He's just not my scene. He's just not my particular bag as a category. However, I would love to be held by him.
Oh, that would be lovely.
As I think everyone would. Just held, protected.
Just lay your head in his lap and let him just stroke your hair. That'd be so nice.
Oh, I'll tell you what, mate. I fucking would. Right, Keanu Reeves, right? I'd fucking be held in his arms, safe and protected.
Idris Elba too.
I would have agreed with you. Up until a couple of weeks ago.
Oh?
But, yeah, the problem with Idris Elba, and it's not necessarily his fault. It's not his fault I watched Cats. It is the Stupendium's fault I watched Cats, because she was over it a couple of weeks ago and made us watch it. And Idris Elba was the best bit of that film. Until he took his coat off. And he was just as man-catty as the rest of them. Except somehow it looks worse on him. All muscular and furry. It's grim.
They should have just fucking hired some furries to do that film.
They ought to have.
And yet.
I'll tell you what, though. They fucking didn't. It's horrible. Somehow Taylor Swift looks okay. I guess it's just her natural talent and beauty, because she is so beautiful and such a talent.
She often looks okay.
She manages to pull it off. Yeah. She manages to make the creepy, horrifying cat people look hot. Everybody else is ghastly. And I realise this is so 2019 to bring this up. But the film is a crime. The visual effects and the direction and James Corden is a crime. Actually, I say that. James Corden is one of the better parts of the film, which should tell you everything you need to know.
Not even Dame Judi Dench can save it?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dame Judi Dench gets away with, at the very least, she doesn't save the film, absolutely not, but at least she looks like she's wearing a big fluffy fur coat for it. At least they didn't give her one of those horrible bodies that they've given almost everyone else. Sir Ian McKellen, they did the dignity as well. They gave him a coat.
Oh, I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah, I didn't. He's probably kept it quiet with good reason.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, he's like, don't fucking tell anyone I was in that.
Don't tell anyone I was in that cat film, Charles.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was doing a podcast with someone who can actually do impressions.
You're doing a podcast with Elsa Farron.
Yeah.
And you're
Elsa
Stephanie
Farron.
Sterling.
We haven't even done names. Stephanie Sterling.
Yeah. It's the Trashgirl Diaries. We are back after...
We're over here, yeah.
It's been some time.
Yeah, that's down to me. Too much going on, plus exhaustion. So it's not been easy to pull this together, but I did, with a scraper, with a metal scraper, did I carve out a bleeding chunk of time. On the day that Monster Hunter's coming out.
Oh.
I'm rushing to do a lot before midnight, because then it's over. I've got Priscilla coming round on Friday night. So that's going to eat into it and all, and I'm just going to look at her and scowl and say, how dare you want to see me?
You have the fucking audacity to not be Monster Hunter Wilds right now.
Right? Anyone who's my friend, while not being Monster Hunter, can go to hell.
You know, it's funny, my fiance, or one of my fiancés, I have two, is very excited to hunt a monster.
I'm quite excited. I've talked about my history. I think I've done it on Podquisition, my history with the series, where I have tried so many times to get into it. So many times. Since the PlayStation 2, and I never got it. I was like, I do not get this. I don't get how anyone is as into it as they are. And something about Monster Hunter Worlds clicked for me. So I got super into Worlds, and I got pretty into the Switch one. But this one I am legit quite stoked for.
I'm really excited for you, and for my lady love, and for all of the people who get to hunt a monster.
Yeah, we don't get the opportunity enough in real life.
It's true.
I've managed to strangle 2 Draclias, and I did once kick a Frankly Stein in the bollocks, but I can't say I hunted any of them. Strangling an old man in his sleep while he desperately says, it's me, it's your granddad, it's not Dracula. It doesn't qualify you for Van Helsing level, does it?
Maybe the Hugh Jackman movie.
Oh, Phoenix was listening to us talking about cats and me talking about Idris Elba, and then told Stupendium, who sent a message saying, does that mean she no longer wants him in her macavities? I hate her. She's always doing words good.
Oh.
I don't like it. And uses that in service of evil. But if you could hunt any monster, which one would it be, and how sexy would the hunt be?
Ghost.
Ghost?
Ghost, and I'll tell you why.
Tell us why.
Because here's the thing. I have been saving this for the next recording for months. When I sleep, I breathe a lot through my mouth, which leads to me swallowing the air.
Ah, you're one of those air swallowers.
I am an air-swallowing bitch.
I'd heard that about you.
The rumors are true.
So, you swallow the air when you do a sleep.
Yes, and
like a dirty monkey.
Like a Kirby.
Like swallowing Kirby.
Goddamn right. And then I wake up, and that air that's in me wants to leave me by any means. It doesn't care what exit it uses. It's just trying to find one. Like a parent at Disney World at 6 p.m. It's just trying to find any exit.
I can relate to that, because for me as well, any hole will do.
And so a lot of the time, the air exits through my anus.
Oh,
in
right. Classic. A classic way.
in the form of flatulence.
Yeah. Anal gustings.
Loud, odorless flatulence. However,
Uh-huh.
that got me thinking. If I were to hunt and, in my Kirby-esque nightmare fashion, consume a ghost, if I were to inhale the ghost,
Right. Gobble it up.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like Nosferatu in the new film, just
Right. Or like Oogie Boogie.
yeah, exactly like Oogie Boogie. If I were to inhale the ghost, right?
Yeah.
And then the ghost exited my body via a fart.
Right. Fart ghost.
Would the ghost smell like a fart forever?
Oh.
Because then it's just a fart ghost.
I mean, this is a philosophical question. Because will it be a ghost that smells like a fart or a fart that smells like a ghost? It's Schrodinger's fart ghost or something.
You know what it reminds me of is when I was in high school and my English teacher, who was really cool, shout outs to Miss Brown in 12th grade English, I never saw her again. She had me read a book called Animal Farm.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
A high school
I've
staple.
read that one and all. Mm-hmm.
And she wanted me to determine whether it was a satirical allegory or an allegorical satire.
Oh.
Which, a ghost that is a fart versus a fart that is a ghost is very much the satirical allegory versus allegorical satire of our time, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, isn't it though? No, I completely see that. Also, it does answer the second part of my question, because I think inhaling a ghost to conduct fart experiments would be very sexy.
Yes. Yes, it would.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is why Ghostbusters is a shit film. They're all shit films because they've never, no Ghostbusters movie has ever dealt with this level of philosophical quandary. And I've just outthought Ghostbusters, which, granted, that's not hard for a movie where apparently they said, yeah, let's cast Bill Murray in this. That's a good idea. Bill Murray, a man whose facial expression has never changed once throughout his life.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He just has Bill Murray face. He has resting and active Bill Murray face.
Yeah, and he's just bored and aloof and smug.
Yeah.
Like every man named Bill.
Yeah. I tell you what, especially, right? Bill. That wanker.
Yeah, no, Bill, he fucking waxes philosophical about Superman for 5 minutes. And then he fights Uma Thurman, but that lasts for about 30 seconds.
Mood.
I mean, granted, yeah, I'd probably last about 30 seconds with Uma Thurman. If my sword went in her sheath. Mm.
I'm also, and listeners will have to forgive some mild distraction, because as I say, I am rushing through some things for work. I've spent several hours taking too long, doing the opposite of rushing on, well, I say too long. Basically, I've added far too much to my writing for the Quantum Witch video game, and didn't leave myself the room I needed to post my Avowed review. So I have been sifting through screenshots, and I do have a perfect one of an NPC saying I've nothing to say, which encapsulates Avowed's approach to the themes of colonialism. The game has nothing to say about that.
What video game does?
Well, for all the video games that love colonialism, over the past 6 or 7 years, I want to say, we've just been seeing this creep of video games evocative of that. Let's send players to go settle an island and not talk about what they might do to the populace there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Avowed has nothing to say for itself, which is a shame.
And you know what? You're right. Animal Crossing is racist.
Yeah, have I said that?
I mean, that's a game about settling an island, right?
That's true, actually.
Animal Crossing,
That's true.
it's a fucking hate crime.
Animal Crossing is a hate crime. I honestly agree. Now that you've said it, I've never thought about it before, but I have decided now that you've said it that is definitely what it is.
I told you.
I believe you.
Let it be known. Animal Crossing is a hate crime. Any problematic media that I happen to enjoy, I'm absolved of enjoying it now because I said that about Animal Crossing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what's interesting? A whole bunch of people are going to be playing Monster Hunter Wilds, and I wish them all the fun in the world hunting monsters. In the months since we have last recorded,
Yeah.
I have been playing a video game called Tekken 8.
The 8th Tekken, no less.
It is the 10th Tekken.
The 10th Tekken, no less.
Yes, Tekken 8. Because they had Tekken Tag Tournament and Tekken Tag Tournament 2 after Tekken's 3 and 6, respectively.
Right.
But I've been playing Tekken because, we've talked at length about guest characters in fighting games. Multiverses is shutting down. LOL.
Yeah, that lasted. Which, I say that sarcastically. The sad thing is, by the standards of today, that lasted.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Nah.
But that's what video games are now. They're just flashes in a pan of nothing. But I'll tell you what's not nothing. Tekken 8. I mean, as a long-time fighting game enjoyer, I'm very much enjoying Tekken 8. Especially after they added the game's so far only guest character. I don't know if you've heard about this.
No. I don't follow a lot of fighting games for previously stated reasons, unless there is I would play any of the franchise fighting games if they add controls like Street Fighter 6 did, the modern controls. Because I am intellectually interested in every one of those franchises. But I am always interested, especially in guest characters in stuff. But I have not seen the Tekken one.
Well, you may be familiar with the character who was introduced to Tekken this past December. His name is Clive.
Oh my god. It genuinely took me a moment. I'm sat here like, who the fuck is Clive? Who the fuck is... Oh, I remember Clive.
Yeah, Clive Owen, the actor.
Yeah.
The guy who I always mistake for Gerard Butler when I see him.
Yeah, yes, actually. I see that.
No, it's Clive Rossfield from Final Fantasy 16.
Oh.
It's still so funny that his name is Clive.
It's fucking great. It's the best. I've had people not get it. Like, they're like, what is so funny about him being called Clive? And I can't explain it, because to me it's so self-explanatory. He's called Clive. That is what is funny about it.
Yahtzee explained it. He's like, in Britain, it's just a dude's name.
Yeah.
It'd be like calling him Norman.
Yeah. Well, there we are. That just shows my inadequacy as a critic.
Now, your review of Final Fantasy 16 was lovely, but Clive is in Tekken.
Excellent. Good for Tekken.
He is a lot of fun in that game. He has a lot of his little special moves that he unlocks over the course of Final Fantasy 16. But his fighting style, because every character has a fighting style, most of them are rooted in like some sort of real-world martial art.
Yeah.
Like my previous main, Leo, who is canonically agender, or non-binary, which is nice. Uses Baji Quan, which is a style of kung fu. There's a character who just uses traditional karate. There's the obligatory Bruce Lee knockoff. All of these, right? There's King, who's a man with a jaguar head. He is a pro wrestler who does a lot of moves that I recognize.
Yeah, I know King. I remember him. I know King. I know Yoshimitsu.
Yes.
I know Is it Heihachi?
Heihachi Mishima, the world's most unkillable old man.
Yeah,
He's
he's got
great.
like spiky hair
He
on the
does.
sides of his head.
He does. And he's also like a glorious prick. Like he's such a prick, but he's kind of awesome because it would take a really long time to explain the lore of Tekken. And Heihachi uses Mishima style karate. That's his fighting style.
Right.
He developed a special version of it for bears to use.
That's awesome.
Yes, and there are 2 playable bears in Tekken 8.
Heihachi and who else?
Well, no. Heihachi's not a bear. He's just a guy.
Oh,
And when I say bear, I don't mean a heavy, hairy, gay man. I mean a bear.
I know. I was desperately trying to do a joke, and I only knew Heihachi, so I just said it and hoped for the best, and hoped I'd get a cheap. I knew he wasn't a bear. I blew it.
It's all right. It's all right. These things happen. You know, good people make mistakes. There is a Tekken character who is a large hirsute man, but he's not in Tekken 8 for some reason. His name's Bob.
Oh.
He's fantastic. But all of this is to say that Clive's fighting style is just listed as dominant. I know, right? And like without context, that's really funny. Like there's a special introduction he has against another character where he goes, "Wait, are you a dominant?" And it's like, it sounds like he's cruising a little bit. Like it sounds like he's trying to break him off a little something something with a little something something. I don't know. Without the context, it's very funny. Clive's fighting style is dominant, which is funny because his personality sure as fuck isn't. Let me ask you this. How much do you remember of Final Fantasy 16?
I remember the man. He was Finchy on The Office, the UK office.
Oh!
And he played Sid.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, Sid, I'm Northern." Like that.
Clive! At one point he just goes, Clive!
Yeah. I remember a lot of wishy-washy bullshit about slavery.
Yeah.
Up to and including the protagonist having slaves.
Did he?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, I could have, because, actually, yeah.
You're asking me what I remember.
That's true.
What I remember may not necessarily be what happened, and I told that to the police as well.
Fucking Sting.
Right? Set me up again. I remember there being a sexy woman who's a villain, and she was awesome, and I was sad because she died early.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there being an area where you can come to a friendly accord with goblins, and immediately after the quest that showed me that goblins were people too, goblins showed up as generic enemies and I slaughtered them without a second thought.
Yep.
I remember some really awesome, visually spectacular boss fights.
Yes.
That might go on a bit long, but were varied and cool. I remember the combat system in general, quite liking that. I remember that you can kill chocobos by the dozen.
You sure can.
Because the game is edgy and brooding.
Oh, it's so M-rated.
I remember that someone in the home camp was a dickhead. Can't remember who. Maybe it was the blacksmith. I don't know.
The blacksmith was kind of a dickhead.
I remember about an old man saying that Clive's dog tried to eat his nuts.
Yep.
He was like, "Oh, he tickled the head." I may be embellishing. My mind sometimes embellishes things to include more head tickling than there might have been.
And you know what? If we all lived in that same world as you do, Stephanie, it'd be a better world. It'd be a better world if more memories would be altered to include more head tickling. Because then it'd be self-actualizing. And there'd be more tickling of heads across the world.
That's what I've tried to argue. It's what I tried to argue to the local ombudsman when they told me I couldn't do that in the park. And they didn't buy it. Anyway, that's why I'm not allowed in the park.
We live in a society.
Yeah. I did wank a man off in the park once.
Oh yeah, I think you remember you telling me about that. That was
Yeah, while laughing my head off because I was like, I'm too old for this. This is hilarious. And it was freezing.
I may or may not have done some illicit activities with a young man in a quarry, in a rock quarry.
Oh, that's a good place to do it. No, I mean, it's a terrible place, I would imagine, but in terms of anecdotes.
Yeah. And then like he took me back to his home for a moment. I looked into his bedroom and I saw a fedora hat hanging off of the corner of the door to his closet. And he followed my eyes to it and he turned white, like his eyes widened. And he said, "Oh my God, I promise I can explain."
Oh, I love that.
And he said that there was a theater production that he was in that required the hat, and he put the hat up on the corner of his closet door after he was done with it and then forgot about it. And that checks out. I mean, I'm always putting hats places and forgetting about them.
I don't wear a lot of hats despite it being part of my public outfit, on the Jimquisition, and that hats have always been a big part of it. But I've always felt like people are going to look at me out in public with a hat and think, look at the dickhead with the hat. Even though I see other people wearing hats and I don't think anything of it, I'm just like, there is a hat here. For some reason, I feel like I'm going to stick out and be treated accordingly, and quite rudely. I did last year start picking up the way of the beret, and that worked out quite well for me. So I will go out in a charming little beret.
You know what I think? I think you should wear a sun hat at some point, and I'll tell you why. I make all of my fashion decisions, both for myself and for other people, based on how I feel Angela White would look in the same clothing. And I've seen Angela White wear a sun hat. She looks lovely in a sun hat. And also in most other clothing. And also with no clothing at all.
That's true.
Which is the most common phase of Angela White that I'm accustomed to seeing, is where she's not wearing a lot of clothing. Or any.
I think I have seen Angela White not in clothes more often, funnily enough, than in them.
I mean, I think that maybe because I think she shows up in clothing usually at the beginning of any of her many adult films.
Oh yeah, I mean, for the narrative setup, absolutely, she'll be there with like a dress on or something.
A sweater?
A sweater, yeah.
She loves to wear sweaters. I can't imagine why. It's because of her tits.
Yeah, that's something I worked out not long after, like, my tits became prolific, shall we say. Prodigious.
Fucking enormous.
Prestigious.
Giant.
Fucking wazzo great big norks. Sweaters make them look really good, and you'd think they wouldn't because they're thicker is the sweater. It's a thicker article of clothing.
Right?
And not always, they're a tighter. I've got like shirts that are tighter than that. But a thick jumper brings out the best in them somehow.
And I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't understand the science. Maybe Angela knows.
Honestly, I bet she does. I bet she does.
She'd know. If anyone would know.
If anyone would know about tit science, Angela White. The paragon of tit science.
Mm-hmm.
Leading authority in the field, I imagine. So what was your favorite video game from last year, Stephanie?
Sorry, I was just thinking about how massive my tits are.
So was I, it's alright. I'm actually staring at them right now.
Impressive. My favourite game of last year. I hesitate to say mouthwashing for the simple fact that it was so harrowing. Is it the best game of last year? I think so. I do think so. I realise that by now is probably considered quite trite to say, but fuck the people who arbitrate what is and isn't trite.
Right?
But I am someone who, not all the time, but at times, will separate my favourite thing from the best thing.
I do that.
And my opinion could waver on this, as I remember other games from last year. But right now, I want to say that my favourite game was Gory Cuddly Carnage, because that game was immense. That game was absurd, and I adore it, and I'm so glad I gave it a chance and didn't just write it off as an asset flip.
I'm glad that game exists. Like, it's not my thing. Like, the combination of, like, cuddly, cute aesthetics and gore, like, that's not really my thing so much. But I know that there are people who love that as an aesthetic, and I'm glad that a game for them has happened.
Thanks.
Well, I figure, just like there are people such as yourself who aren't as into fighting games, but maybe they're glad that a game like Tekken 8 has happened.
I am always glad, even if I'm not into the game itself, if I'm not into that particular game or the genre. I think it's always a good thing to see a quality game that people love come out. And, even if I hate the game, even if I've given the game a negative review, I'll still be happy for people that have played and enjoyed Final Fantasy XIII.
Final Fantasy XIII.
I'll pity them a bit as well, but, I'll be glad of them and their little preferences. Good for them, I think.
I keep saying to you, I've said this to you many times outside of the podcast, and I've said that one of these days we're going to have a serious discussion about Final Fantasy XIII. I don't think we actually will.
Maybe.
I mean, it's possible, but, I don't know what, serious thing we could actually say to each other about it. I mean, for starters, you played it once when it came out 15 years ago. And 15 years ago. I'm going to let that sit.
Yeah.
I'm going to let that...
Don't. You didn't have to go there. You didn't have to do what you just did.
You know what? If I have to be aware of the horrific and decaying march of time, you do too.
Yeah. That's true. We do have an accord to that effect. There was a pact that was signed.
As long as one of us is aware of the horrific entropy to which we are all subject, both of us have to be.
Fair. I can no better fight the compact we have than I can the inexorable march of time. I feel ravaged, Elsa. I feel ravaged and time-worn. I feel eroded. I look fantastic, but I feel like shit.
Honestly, same. You know the film Toy Story?
I used to watch Toy Story. I went through this weird little period. Not literally, the hormones aren't that good. I went through this weird little period where I would watch Toy Story every night around 1 a.m. We're talking, so many years ago. I was in the UK. I was still living at my mum's house. So I want to say late teens. Too old to be doing it. Very much like when I wanked that bloke off in the park. Too old to be watching Toy Story every single night at 1 a.m. Because you go through that phase, as a kid. The films, not the wanking off. And that was Son of Godzilla. Me and my brother would watch Son of Godzilla every day. My sister, when she hit that phase, would watch Shrek all the time. I think my younger of the two brothers did it with The Land Before Time.
I did it with Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's Delivery Service?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that film.
That is a lovely film. That is just a delightful film. Like, if you want to watch a film, right, and just have a nice time, I would recommend it. If you like Studio Ghibli. However, I bring up Toy Story because this year, Toy Story turns 30.
No.
Yes, it
No,
does.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Oh wow, that means I'd have been in my 20s then. Way too old to be watching Toy Story at 1 a.m. every night. Every single night. I don't know what possessed me. No way is it 30.
30.
Oh. No. I just reject the assertion.
Other films that are 30. Batman the Forever.
No.
Oh, yes. I'm actually going to just go real quick look at...
The 30 over 30, but for films.
Yes.
Someone should do that, just to really upset everyone.
7.
7 is 30.
Mm-hmm.
7:30.
GoldenEye?
I don't want it. GoldenEye. No, it came out like 3 weeks ago. Have they confused decades for weeks?
No. GoldenEye came out in 1995. And that was 30 years ago. Die Hard with a Vengeance came out 30 years ago. And this is the important one, Waterworld.
I was thinking about that film today because I was watching Rose Tinted Spectrum's retrospective on an old British kids video game show called Bad Influence, and the Waterworld Genesis game was mentioned. I kind of want to rewatch Waterworld. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow night.
I kind of want to play Waterworld on the Virtual Boy.
There was a Waterworld on the Virtual Boy?
There was.
Oh.
In the words of the angry video game nerd, Waterworld on Virtual Boy. It's like puking on a pile of shit.
He always had such a way with words, doesn't he? That James.
He had a way with words if the words either were shit, or pertained to shit, or were synonyms for shit. Lots of shit.
A lot of shit-based prose.
And, obviously, I've never really been one for it. I certainly haven't gone on big, long tangents to friends of mine about shits that I personally have taken.
Who would do that? What kind of monster would do that?
Jonathan Holmes.
Yeah. Oh, he phones me up and just talks me ear off for hours about that. Aha. How long have we got? I feel... Oh, that's good timing, because I say I've got to keep the recording to a tight hour because of the immense load I've got in my work. I've got a huge gobbet of cum to get really subtle with the innuendo. Plus, I got a Tesco delivery coming tonight. I'm quite excited about that.
I was a Skeksis for a second there.
You were a Skeksis. Sorry, that was ADHD.
It's
I
all
have
right.
this thing with ADHD sometimes where the brain registered what happened and the rest of me somehow didn't.
Oh, God,
because
yeah.
if I'd have registered that with full force, I'd have been very excited to have heard the Chamberlain. Oh, I'm very excited to hear that.
Oh, goodness. That's just fun to do. That's just like,
I wish I could do it.
My spine has straightened. Like, my posture is better now that I've just, that just feels good. That's just Having said that, I think we'll have to talk about how the best game of 2024 was clearly Final Fantasy VII Rebirth another time.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. I have a screenshot that I can send to you from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'll send it to you, and that will be probably the thumbnail, if we're being honest with ourselves and each other. There it is. There's that.
Oh. Oh.
And honestly, same, Aerith. Same.
Yeah. Like, I don't care what, like, the nerds say. Tifa is very beautiful and such a talent.
Tifa Lockhart is very beautiful and such a talent. Having said that, the producer of Tekken 8 was told that everybody wanted the Final Fantasy character with the big tits in Tekken, and that's why he brought in Clive.
Oh, God.
We do have fun.
Are you sure you didn't mishear him and thought they wanted the Final Fantasy character that is a big tit?
Also, yes.
Thank you. Having made the joke of the show, I believe it's time for you to tell the lovely listeners your things, not your tits, your online stuff, which, well, that might not preclude
do you want me to whip out my tits? Because I will.
I mean, it's an audio medium, but, you know, the listeners can enjoy knowing they're out.
You know what? Here, hang on a quick second. Because it's Zoom, right? We're on Zoom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Marvellous.
Delightful.
Quality work.
I
Excellent.
have been very, like, over the past year, I have been phasing out my online presence for reasons of mental health. However, I still have a Tumblr account. You are more than welcome to have a look at my Tumblr account. It is Agwan, which is AGWHAAN.tumblr.com. And that's it. That's it. You can find me on Discord, sometimes posting on Stephanie Sterling's Trash Palace server. And other than that, catch me in Tekken 8.
Yeah, do it. Like, with a net. Try and actually catch Elsa with a net.
In Tekken 8, though.
Do it. Only in Tekken 8.
I don't want to see anybody...
If you see her outside, don't go chasing with a net, you prig. Oh my God.
Unless Angela White is listening, in which case...
Unless, yes.
By all means.
Please punch me in the face.
Just, you are welcome to hurl a fishing net at me.
Yeah.
Delightful. We have fun here.
And just smack me head into a table.
Yes, see, that's more Rhea Ripley for me.
Pretty much anyone I have even the vaguest attraction to, I just kind of want them to beat the crap out of me and leave me for dead. Leave me for the birds to pick at.
I would love for Rhea Ripley to just disembowel me and take all of my pluck.
Bye, everyone.
Ta-ta!